Anna dragged her Rimawa suitcase through the front door, and a wave of stale air and dust hit her immediately. She coughed twice, waving her hand in front of her face. The living room was dark, like a shallow grave in the middle of a dead-end street. Habitually, she called out, "Caleb, I'm home." No one answered. Normally, even if Caleb was working late, he'd leave a light on or send an iMessage saying he'd ordered her favorite takeout. But now, the house was eerily silent, the only sound being the rhythmic, mechanical ticking of the wall clock. She frowned and fumbled for the light switch. A sharp, white light flooded the room, revealing a sterile scene. The coffee table was bare. There was no steaming mug of tea, no freshly cut fruit, just a thin layer of dust on the dining table. Anna felt a sudden pang of anxiety. "Caleb, where are you hiding? Stop joking. I know you're still mad." She kicked off her heels and pulled out her phone to call him. Instead of the familiar ringtone, a cold, automated voice responded, "We're sorry. The number you have reached is no longer in service." Her hand trembled. Her phone nearly slipped to the floor. Disconnected? That was impossible. He was fine when she left a week ago. How could his number be dead in just 7 days? A sense of dread wrapped around her heart like vines. She didn't even stop to unpack. She grabbed her car keys and ran out the door. The elevator display ticked down slowly, driving her crazy. Anna stared at the screen, her mind replaying the last 7 days. Mason Carter, the intern with the puppy dog eyes and the smirk that promised excitement. He was the one who told her Caleb was a boring block of wood who only cared about spreadsheets. He'd beg her to stay with him for just 1 week in his cramped apartment, calling it a soul-searching retreat. She had been possessed. Absolute madness. The car crawled through Midtown traffic like a snail. Anna honked her horn repeatedly, fighting back tears. She didn't know what she was afraid of, whether it was that something happened to Caleb or that this was all a nightmare. Finally, she sprinted into the office lobby. The receptionist, busy touching up her lipstick, looked up in surprise. "Anna, I thought you were on a business trip. Is Caleb in his office?" Anna didn't wait for an answer. She headed for the elevators. "Caleb?" The girl stopped, her lipstick suspended in midair. "Caleb quit last Tuesday, Anna. Everyone in the building knows." Anna froze. It felt like someone had shoved her against a wall of ice. She turned around, her voice trembling. "What are you talking about? He's the head of sales. How could he just quit?" A male colleague walking by with a coffee mug smirked. "He handed in his resignation last Tuesday. Walked out the same day. The new VP handled the paperwork personally. As his wife, it's a bit weird that you're the last to know." Tuesday. The word echoed in her head. That was the first day she turned off her phone to move into Mason's cheap Bronx apartment for their secret romantic week. Grant Sullivan, the HR director, walked out of his office with a thermos. He saw Anna standing there like a ghost and sighed. "Anna, in my office. Now." Inside the office, Grant sat down and looked at her with a mix of pity and disgust. Caleb left quickly, and he left clean. He tossed a manila envelope onto the desk. "Here is his resignation and the handover list. Also, he specifically told me to give this to you." Anna's hands shook as she opened the envelope. There were no love letters, no screaming accusations. Just a few sheets of paper, a copy of a house sale contract, a bank balance receipt, and a post-it note. The handwriting was Caleb's, bold and sharp. The note read, "House is sold. The money has been moved. Since you found your true love, I'm giving you your freedom. That assistant of yours can't even pay his own rent. Good luck." No, this can't be happening. Anna gripped the paper tightly, tears streaming down her face. How could he sell the house? That was our home. His parents spent their life savings on that down payment. He said it was my sanctuary. Caleb did more than enough for you. Grant interrupted coldly. Before he left, he compiled a list of every personal beauty bill, shopping receipt, and dinner you charged to the company account over the last year. He didn't report you to the police, but the finance department has flagged it. Honestly, it's enough to get you fired twice over. Anna's face went deathly pale. She felt like she was falling into a frozen lake. She stood up abruptly. "What's his new number? I can't reach him. It's disconnected." Grant took a sip of his tea, his eyes cutting through her like a blade. He disconnected the number because he wanted peace. Anna, you're on your own now. Good luck with the mess you made. Anna didn't know how she made it out of the building. The November wind sliced through her coat, but she was already shivering from the inside out. She sat in her car, watching the neon lights of Manhattan, and realized everything she had lost. The man who wore cheap suits but bought her designer bags. The man who worked late just to pay off their mortgage. The man who always knew her cycle and would run out at midnight to get her a heating pad. He was gone. Decisively. Completely. Her phone buzzed. It was an iMessage from Mason. Babe, when are you coming back? I am hungry. Grab some Chipotle on your way. And hey, can you pick up those limited edition Nikes we saw? They're on sale. Looking at the message, Anna felt like vomiting. What had she been doing this week? Mason's idea of passion was playing video games until 3 a.m., then shaking her awake to cook him ramen. It was bragging on Facebook about his rich sugar mama and making her pay for every meal. He'd used cheesy pickup lines from the internet to trick her, and she had abandoned a loyal husband for this trash. She gritted her teeth, started the car, and drove toward the Bronx. She had to end this farce. Maybe if she went back and begged Caleb, if she got on her knees and apologized, he would forgive her. They'd been married for 3 years. He loved her. The neighborhood was gritty, with dim streetlights and trash piling up on the curbs. Anna carried the takeout, her heels clicking on the grimy stairs. The hallway smelled of old grease and neglect. She pushed open the creaky wooden door. A wave of stale sweat hit her. Mason was sprawled on a sagging mattress, playing games in his boxers. His toenails were filthy. He didn't even look up. You're back. Where's the food? I am starving. Anna threw the bag on the table. Salsa is spilling everywhere. Mason, we're done. Mason froze. The word defeat flashed on his screen. He sat up, incredulous. What did you say? Babe, we said 1 week. It's only day 7. I said we're finished. I'm going home. Anna screamed, tears flowing. My husband is gone. He sold the house. He dumped me. I have nothing. She expected Mason to show some concern, or at least fake some comfort. Instead, his eyes lit up with greed. Gone? Sold the house. He grabbed her wrist. Where's the money? He took the house money with him? That was his money. Anna struggled to pull away. It doesn't matter. This isn't working. I can't live like this. Because you're broke now. Mason's face twisted into a sneer. The puppy dog act was gone, replaced by a wolf. Let's be real, Anna. I don't actually like older women. I only put up with you because you had power at the company and could pay for my stuff. Now that Caleb is gone and you've lost your influence, you think I'm going to stick around? Get lost. Mason stood up and kicked her suitcase toward the door. Get out before you waste more of my time. I've already got a girl with a BMW lined up. Anna was pushed out into the dark hallway. The door slammed shut, rattling the frame. She sat on the cold floor, her heels having rubbed her skin raw. She finally understood exactly what she had thrown away. 6 months later, Caleb Miller was no longer the man in the budget suit. He was the CEO of Cloud Tech, a rising star in the tech industry. His company's data systems had taken over the logistics market on the East Coast. He wore custom Italian shirts and a Patek Philippe on his wrist. He was cold, calculated, and known in the industry as the Wolf of Midtown. A knock came at his door. Richard Sterling is here to see you, sir. Caleb didn't look up. Richard Sterling was a titan of Wall Street, but he was also Mason Carter's uncle. Let him in. Richard walked in, radiating power. Caleb, I've heard great things. Let's talk about a $50 million investment. My nephew Mason is a bit of screw-up, but we can keep this professional. Caleb leaned back, a cold smile on his face. $50 million. It was a tempting offer, but he knew Richard's books were dirty. He also knew Mason had been stealing client data from Anna's old company. Richard, I don't need your money, Caleb said, tossing a USB drive on the desk. This contains evidence of your nephew's corporate espionage and tax fraud. I've already sent a copy to the district attorney. Richard's face turned purple. You're making a mistake, Miller. I can bury you. You're old, Richard. The game has changed. Caleb stood up. By the way, the police are picking up Mason as we speak. A week later, the news hit the headlines. Sterling Group under investigation for massive fraud. Mason Carter was arrested at a club, crying as he was led away in handcuffs. Anna showed up at Caleb's office later that day. She looked hollowed out, wearing a faded coat and holding a canvas bag. She tried to give him more evidence against Mason and a small stack of cash, money she'd saved from working a minimum wage job to pay back the company reimbursements. Caleb looked at her, but there was no spark of love left, only a cold, professional distance. I don't need your money or your evidence, Anna. I've already taken care of it. Then why did you let me up here? She whispered. Because your scandal was going to hurt my IPO, Caleb said, looking out the window. I had my PR team bury the stories about you for business reasons. That's it. It is like a knife to her heart. I understand. Thank you for being honest. There's a project in Ohio, Caleb added, still not looking at her. A logistics center. It's hard work, and you'll be living in a trailer on site. But it pays $8,000 a month, and it's a fresh start where nobody knows you. Don't tell anyone I sent you. And don't ever come back here. Anna bowed deeply, tears hitting the marble floor. Thank you, Caleb. She walked out, the sound of her footsteps fading into the distance. Caleb took a sip of his coffee, watching the city below. He had won everything, but he had done it by becoming someone who didn't need anyone. The sun broke through the clouds, lighting up the Manhattan skyline, as he turned back to his desk to build his empire.